This is a Squiz podcast. We're your shortcut to being informed.
Squiz Kids! It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Good morning and welcome to Squiz Kids, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Friday, February 12. In Squiz Kids today, quick COVID update. The castaways who survived by eating rats. Kokkinakis gives it his all. And the whale poo worth more than gold. That's what's making news, kids style.
The lowdown.
Have you ever heard the French expression déjà vu? It literally translates to already seen, or another way of saying it might be, here we go again. And that's the kind of mood that's taking over some residents of Melbourne as the number of COVID cases in a hotel quarantine outbreak climbed to 11 yesterday. There's a hotel called the Holiday Inn right next to Melbourne Airport, and lots of travellers from overseas have been spending their 2 weeks quarantine there. And it seems cases of the virus have been passed from hotel guests to hotel workers, and well, you know how it goes. The health authorities in Victoria have said they are alert, but not yet alarmed, which sounds sensible to us. Meanwhile, more good news on the vaccination front yesterday after confirmation was received that a large shipment of the Pfizer vaccine would be released from Europe and making its way to our shores, ready to be injected into an arm near you soon.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in the Bahamas, a group of islands in the Caribbean, where 3 men have been rescued off a deserted island after spending 33 days stranded there. The men swam to the island when their boat capsized. Miraculously, despite the fact there was no food or water on the island, they survived for 33 days by eating coconuts, sea snails, and, get this, rats. Ew. The men were only rescued when a passing US Coast Guard helicopter pilot noticed the men frantically waving at him as he undertook a routine patrol of the area. Now, that's what you call good luck. Well, except maybe for the eating rats bit. That's just what you call plain gross.
Sport time.
Despite a 2.5-hour marathon match, Aussie underdog Kokkinakis and his Kmart t-shirt was last night unable to overcome his second-round rival at the Australian Open, going down in a 5-set thriller. But what a brave fight he put on. Much like his fellow Aussie Nick Kyrgios, who pulled off a stunning come-from-behind victory on Wednesday night to cruise into the third round. Aussie rising star Alex de Minaur won his match last night too, and not forgetting, of course, Queensland's own world number 1, Ash Barty, who moved easily into her next round. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Oh, you know the rest.
Animal Kingdom.
A man in New Zealand who spends his days collecting whale poo, washed up on beaches, reckons he has gathered enough to make him a millionaire. What the what? There's a substance called Ambergris. It's a sticky black substance from the guts of some sperm whales that is occasionally pooped out. It might sound crazy, but this stuff that comes out of whales' bums is highly prized by people who make perfume. So prized, in fact, that a kilo of ambergris is worth more than a kilo of gold. It's believed that only 1 to 5% of sperm whales in the world produce ambergris. There's a cool link in today's episode notes to an explainer video from the Australian Museum.
What's up, Fox?
Every Friday, we check in with Squiz Kids Ambassador Flynn, known as the Fox to his friends, to see what he's been reading, listening to, and watching. And the book that's captured his attention this week is The Running Man by Michael Gerard Bauer, about a teenage boy and a talented artist in Brisbane who summons the courage to draw a portrait of his scary old neighbour and the relationship that blossoms between them. His ears this week have been filled with the smooth sound of the Bill Withers and Grover Washington Jr. classic, Just the Two of Us. He's a soulful cat, our fox. And as for watching, he's found himself down a Hunger Games YouTube wormhole, watching a whole bunch of behind-the-scenes videos, which is a cool way to see how movies are made. As always, there are links to all of these cool things in today's episode notes, as well as a link to his Spotify playlist, which contains every song he's ever recommended. A big thank you to all of the people who have taken the time to fill out the Squiz Kids Survey to help us make this little podcast of ours bigger and better. The survey closes next Tuesday. And while we've had a heap of responses, we want a heap more. And so, we're throwing a prize into the mix. Because who doesn't love a prize? There's a book pack to be won by one lucky survey respondent. Whether you've filled it in already, or you can make time to do it over the weekend, you'll go into the draw. And if you're one of our many teacher listeners, we know you do a million things a day, but we'd especially love it if you could turn your minds to filling out our survey. And if you happen to be the winner of our prize, we'll throw in a special little surprise for you and your class. So, don't just sit there, get busy. There's a link to the survey in today's episode notes via both the podcasting app and, of course, the website.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What animal were a trio of men stranded on a desert island in the Bahamas forced to eat to survive? That's right, it was rats. Ooh. Question number 2. What's the name of the Aussie tennis player with a thing for Kmart t-shirts who got knocked out of the Australian Open last night? You got it, it was Kokkinakis. Question number 3. What's the name of the substance that whales poop, which is highly prized by perfumers? Yeah, it's Ambergris.
Shout outs.
It's February 12. Only 2 more sleeps until Valentine's Day. Have you worked out who your special Valentine's going to be? I have. It's also a special day for these Squiz kids celebrating a birthday today. Shall we crack out the birthday reggae tune? It's a Friday after all. All right then, hit it. Happy birthday to Jai from Flagstaff Hill, Declan from East Lynfield, Louis from Canterbury, James, Mel and Greg from Wallen, Drake from Albany Creek, Mia from Darwin, Eddie from Dandaloo, Pepper from Castlemaine, Keshet from Abbotsford, Alexis from Melbourne, Kalani from Carroll, Addison from Rockhampton, Noah from Craigburn, Chase from Brisbane, and Lucy and Sophie from Wesburn. Happy birthday, one and all. And some belated birthday shout-outs to Bella from Grovedale, Nervair from Forest Lake, and Eliza, Lincoln, and Macy from Craigburn. And of course, the weekend birthday shout-outs for all those Squiz kids celebrating a birthday over the weekend. Amali from Invermay, Aria from Canberra, Ethan from Blaxland, Rashana from Westmead, Rhythm from Gosford East, Courtney from Melbourne, Trinica from Jindalee, Giselle from Listerfield, Giorgio from Darwin, Kieran from Waitara, and Emily from Birkdale. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you're after a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids. We'll be back again on Monday. In the meantime, I want you all to get out there and have a most excellent weekend. Over and out. Squiz Kids is proudly supported by the Judith Neilson Institute for Journalism and Ideas.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.